In the quiet moments of our lives, especially as we grow older, we find ourselves reflecting on the stories we've lived, the faces we've loved, and the lessons we've gathered along the way. Our memory becomes a precious garden. Some flowers bloom brightly, while others fade into gentle whispers. In Buddhism, we are taught to observe these changes with compassion and non-attachment, understanding that all things are impermanent, even the stories we carry within us. Yet, many of us long to keep our minds sharp, to remember the warmth of a loved one's touch, the sound of laughter on a summer evening, or the quiet dignity of a parent's wisdom. In this video, we will explore how Buddhist wisdom can help us improve memory in our later years, not through force or worry, but through mindfulness, compassion, and gentle self-awareness. You will discover why mindfulness after 60 is a powerful tool to nourish mental clarity, how emotional memories sometimes linger longer than factual recall, what it means to forget from a Buddhist perspective, and why it can even be a blessing. We will also reflect on the importance of connecting with our past without being imprisoned by it and ultimately arrive at the most sacred memory of all, remembering who you truly are beyond all stories and labels. This journey isn't just about sharpening the mind, it's about awakening the heart, softening the spirit, and finding true peace of mind as we age. Together, we will learn how to age with grace, cultivate inner peace, and embrace spiritual growth without fear. Let us walk this path slowly and mindfully, honoring each step as a gentle invitation to return home to ourselves. Stay with me until the end, and you may find that the memory you most need to hold on to is not of the past but of your deepest, most peaceful self. Let us begin our exploration with the first reflection: why mindfulness helps improve memory after 60. As we enter our later years, many of us notice subtle changes in our memory. We might find ourselves searching for a word that once came easily, or standing in a room wondering why we went there. In a society that celebrates speed and sharpness, these small slips can feel like personal failings and bring an undercurrent of fear. Yet from the gentle perspective of Buddhist wisdom, these changes are not signs of decline but gentle invitations to deepen our mindfulness and cultivate inner peace. The Buddha often spoke of sati, mindfulness, as the gentle guardian of the mind, a quality that tenderly embraces each moment without judgment or distraction. Just as a gardener removes weeds so that flowers may flourish, mindfulness clears away the mental clutter of worry and regret, allowing clarity and presence to blossom. When we engage in mindfulness, we become like a mountain, unmoved by the storms of past memories and future anxieties. We begin to experience each small task, sipping tea, folding clothes, feeling the warmth of the sun, as a living meditation, embedding these moments more deeply into our consciousness and making them easier to remember. One ancient Zen story beautifully illustrates the power of mindfulness for mental clarity. A young monk once approached an old Zen master and confessed that he struggled to remember the teachings and felt unworthy because of his forgetfulness. The master handed the young monk a leaking basket and asked him to fetch water from the nearby river. The monk ran back and forth many times, but each time the water would leak out before he could return. Finally, exhausted and discouraged, the monk fell to his knees and said, "Master, this basket is useless, I cannot hold any water." The master smiled and pointed to the basket, now clean and shining from the repeated trips. "You see," the master said softly, "though the basket holds no water, it is now free of dirt and impurities. Your mind is like this basket. Even if you do not remember every word of the teachings, each moment of practice cleanses your mind and opens your heart." This story reminds us that mindfulness practice is not about perfect memory or rigid achievement, but about the continual gentle cleansing of the mind, allowing it to become luminous and open. As we age, mindfulness transforms our relationship with memory. It shifts our focus from storing facts to fully inhabiting each moment. In daily life, mindfulness can be practiced in simple yet profound ways: feeling the softness of your clothing as you dress, truly tasting each bite of your meal, or listening deeply to a loved one without planning a reply. In these moments, the mind is fully alive, weaving strong threads that support clearer memory and a brighter presence. Moreover, mindfulness teaches us the art of non-attachment. By letting go of the rigid demand to always remember perfectly, we free ourselves from the anxiety that clouds our mind. Memory, in the Buddhist view, is not a static vault but a living, breathing process, shaped by emotion and attention. When we hold our memories lightly, without fear or grasping, they often return more naturally and kindly. The Buddha shared, "As a lotus rises above the muddy water and blossoms unsoiled, so too can the mindful person rise above worldly forgetfulness and blossom with clarity." This is why mindfulness after 60 is not merely a tool for sharper memory but a path to deeper spiritual growth and lasting peace of mind. By integrating mindfulness meditation, gentle breathing practices, and acts of loving kindness into daily life, seniors can nurture an inner sanctuary where the seeds of memory and joy can grow strong and steady. In each mindful moment, we remember not just the details of our lives, but the sacredness of simply being alive. In this way, mindfulness offers us the twin gifts of a sharper mind and a softer, more compassionate heart, inviting us to age gracefully and cherish each day as a luminous jewel in the tapestry of our journey. Moving now to our second reflection, how emotional memory outlasts mental recall, we begin to see that as we grow older, the details of our life story may blur like ink in the rain, yet the emotions behind those moments often stay vividly alive within our hearts. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that while facts and names might slip away like leaves in the wind, the feelings they carried can remain strong, guiding us gently through each new day. Emotional memory is like the fragrance of a flower, even after the petals have fallen, the scent lingers softly in the air. In the calm light of Buddhist understanding, this lingering fragrance of feeling is seen as more real and more precious than the factual stories our minds try to hold on to. To illustrate this, let us turn to a real story that beautifully shows the enduring power of emotional memory. In a small town in Vermont, there lived an elderly man named Harold who was once a high school music teacher. Over time, Harold began to experience memory loss, and eventually he could no longer recall the names of his former students or the dates of the concerts he had directed so passionately. One day, his daughter decided to take him to a community event where a former student was performing. As they walked into the auditorium, Harold seemed confused and hesitant, unsure of where he was. But then, the young musician began to play an old song that Harold had taught him decades earlier. As the first few notes floated through the air, something extraordinary happened. Harold's face lit up, his eyes sparkled, and without thinking, he began to move his hands as if he were conducting an invisible orchestra. Tears rolled down his cheeks, and his daughter, too, was overcome with emotion. In that moment, Harold did not remember the student's name or even the year of that old performance, but he felt the deep joy and love that music had always brought him. Afterward, he could not describe what had just happened in words, but his heart carried the warmth and connection of that moment long after they returned home. This story touches us because it reveals a simple truth: it is not always the names or dates that give our lives meaning, but the feelings that blossom within us: joy, sorrow, love, gratitude. In Buddhist teachings, this is closely tied to the understanding of Vedana, the feeling tones that color every experience and leave deep impressions on our consciousness. By paying attention to these emotional imprints rather than clinging to mental facts, we can discover a deeper layer of wisdom and connection in our lives. As we age, these emotional memories become like gentle lanterns lighting our path forward. They remind us of the beauty we have experienced and the love we have shared, even if the details fade away. The Buddha emphasized that true understanding comes not from holding on to rigid knowledge but from directly experiencing life with an open and compassionate heart. When we embrace this approach, we find freedom from the painful struggle of trying to remember every detail perfectly and instead allow the heart to guide us gently. In our daily practice, we can nurture emotional memory through mindfulness and loving-kindness meditation, by savoring simple pleasures and cherishing small gestures of kindness. We can allow ourselves to feel the warmth of a friend's smile, the quiet joy of a morning breeze, the tender sadness of saying goodbye, without needing to fix them into concrete stories. In this gentle holding, we cultivate a sense of inner peace and spiritual growth that supports us through all seasons of life. Emotional memory shows us that what remains is not a museum of perfect facts but a living garden of feelings that continue to bloom in unexpected ways. As we move through each day with mindfulness and non-attachment, we can learn to trust that our heart knows what to keep and what to release. In this trust, we discover a profound peace of mind and the freedom to live more lightly and lovingly. In the end, it is this rich tapestry of emotional moments that truly defines our life and leads us ever closer to the quiet joy of awakening. Now let us gently enter our third reflection: what Buddhism teaches about forgetting, and why it might be a gift. In the modern world, memory is often idolized as the foundation of our identity, and forgetting is treated almost like a personal failure or a frightening sign of decline. We are taught to cling tightly to our memories, to collect them like treasures that define who we are and confirm our worth. Yet in the soft, compassionate light of Buddhist wisdom, forgetting is not necessarily a loss but rather a gentle gift, a sacred opportunity to release burdens and step more fully into the living present. The Buddha frequently reminded his followers that attachment to form, thought, and memory is a major source of suffering. We build a sense of self around our stories, past triumphs, mistakes, wounds, and dreams, and then we suffer when these stories begin to fade or change. Forgetting can be seen as a natural form of non-attachment, a spontaneous letting go that can dissolve the rigid walls we build around our hearts. The teachings of anicca, impermanence, and anatta, non-self, help us understand that all things, including our most cherished memories, are constantly changing and ultimately not who we truly are. Rather than fighting this natural process, Buddhism invites us to observe it with gentle mindfulness and acceptance, seeing it as part of the unfolding flow of life. Forgetting can feel like a loss at first, but it is also a doorway into greater freedom and peace of mind. When we forget old grievances, we open space for forgiveness and healing to take root. When we forget the relentless striving for past accomplishments, we rediscover the joy of simply being. Forgetting loosens the tight grip of ego and allows us to live with more spaciousness and grace. In this way, forgetting becomes a compassionate friend rather than an enemy, reminding us that the present moment is always fresh and alive, waiting to be fully embraced. We do not have to carry every memory like a heavy bag on our back, we can choose to set it down and feel the relief of an unburdened heart. In the Buddhist tradition, practitioners are encouraged to cultivate sati, or mindfulness, to become aware of the stories and memories arising in the mind without clinging to them. By seeing memories as fleeting visitors rather than permanent residents, we create space for deeper insights and spiritual growth. We come to realize that our true nature is not bound by the collection of remembered events but is the open, luminous awareness that witnesses all experiences with calm compassion. Forgetting helps us see this truth more clearly, softening the hard lines of our self-image and allowing our natural wisdom to shine through. As we age, embracing forgetting can bring profound peace, transforming what might seem like a loss into a powerful act of spiritual freedom. We begin to understand that what is essential cannot truly be forgotten, for it lives beyond words and stories. It is the quiet presence within us that remains steady and bright no matter what we remember or forget. By welcoming forgetting as a gift, we invite ourselves to age with grace, to let go of unnecessary suffering, and to rest in the gentle flow of life as it is. In this space, we discover a new depth of inner peace and an authentic joy that comes not from clinging to the past but from living fully and lovingly in the present moment. Let us now arrive at our fourth reflection: how to connect with your past through gentle reflection. In Buddhism, while we are guided to stay present and avoid clinging to past stories, there is also deep value in looking back mindfully, with softness and gratitude rather than regret or longing. Gentle reflection is like walking through a beautiful old garden at dawn, noticing the faded petals and the new buds alike without judgment. It allows us to honor where we have been and understand the lessons life has offered us, helping us weave a sense of wholeness and inner peace as we age. Rather than endlessly replaying past mistakes or losses, gentle reflection is an invitation to see how each experience has shaped our hearts, opened our compassion, and deepened our wisdom. We reflect not to dwell but to embrace the flow of our story with kindness. A touching real-life story beautifully illustrates this practice. In a small town in Oregon, there lived a woman named Linda who spent over 30 years working as a nurse. Throughout her career, she devoted herself tirelessly to caring for others, often at the expense of her own needs and dreams. When Linda retired at 65, she found herself overwhelmed with mixed emotions. She felt proud of her service but also haunted by memories of patients she could not save and moments when she wished she had been more present with her family. One day, Linda decided to take a slow journey across the country by train, a dream she had put off for decades. As the train moved gently through forests, mountains, and small towns, Linda carried a small journal and began to write letters to her younger self, letters of forgiveness, gratitude, and understanding. She wrote to the young nurse who had felt insecure on her first day, to the mother who missed her son's soccer games, to the daughter who worried constantly about her aging parents. As the miles rolled by, Linda wept, smiled, and laughed, realizing how each moment of her life, even the painful ones, had been woven into a tapestry of deep love and service. By the time she returned home, she felt lighter, as if a heavy cloak had been lifted from her shoulders. Her family noticed a new glow in her face, a softness in her voice. Linda's story reminds us that gentle reflection can transform the weight of our past into a source of strength and beauty. In Buddhism, this practice is known as Yoniso Manasikara, wise attention, where we look at our experiences with clarity and compassion rather than through the lens of shame or pride. By reflecting with kindness, we acknowledge our imperfections and embrace the full spectrum of our humanity. We learn to see that every success and failure, every joy and sorrow, has been a teacher leading us closer to understanding and peace of mind. Gentle reflection allows us to integrate our past without becoming stuck in it, to find meaning in our journey, and to cultivate gratitude for all that has shaped us. As we age, this practice helps us move forward with a heart that is open and light, no longer bound by the rigid narratives of who we should have been. Through simple practices such as writing letters to ourselves, sharing stories with loved ones without the need for approval, or sitting quietly and letting old memories arise like soft clouds in the sky, we create space for healing and growth. We begin to see that our past is not a chain holding us back but a garden of experiences that can nourish us if tended with mindfulness. In this gentle way of looking back, we honor the seasons of our life, the people who have touched us, and the countless small moments that form the true fabric of our being. It is through this warm, compassionate reflection that we find the courage to move forward with grace and discover a deeper spiritual freedom that radiates from within. Finally, we arrive at our fifth and perhaps deepest reflection, and the most important memory of all, remembering who you truly are. In the midst of all the details we strive to recall, names, dates, places, tasks, there lies a far more profound memory that calls to us quietly beneath the surface of everyday life. This is the memory of our true nature, the essence of who we really are beyond all titles, roles, and fleeting stories. In Buddhist wisdom, this deeper remembrance is not about intellectual knowledge but about direct, intimate knowing of the heart. The Buddha taught that our true nature is pure awareness, luminous and unchanging, beyond the grasp of aging or forgetting. It is like the clear sky that remains untouched no matter how many clouds pass through. As we grow older and certain memories begin to slip away, we are gently invited to rest more deeply in this fundamental awareness. Instead of anxiously trying to preserve every detail of our personal history, we can turn inward and reconnect with the quiet presence that has always been there, silently witnessing each moment of our lives. This remembering is not about clinging to ideas of who we think we should be, but about recognizing the spacious, compassionate awareness that exists beyond all mental constructs. By practicing mindfulness and meditation, we can peel back the layers of conditioned identity, the stories we have told ourselves about success and failure, youth and age, gain and loss. We start to see that beneath these layers lies an open field of being that is always whole and at peace. Remembering who we truly are means remembering that we are not merely a collection of memories or experiences but rather the awareness in which all experiences arise and fade. In this way, aging becomes not a process of losing ourselves but a precious opportunity to discover our deepest self, to return to a more authentic and liberated way of being. When we connect with this inner essence, we find a peace of mind that is unshakable, a source of happiness that does not depend on external achievements or possessions. we come to understand that even as our bodies change and our mental faculties shift, this true self remains radiant and untouched. In Buddhist teachings, this is sometimes described as the deathless element, the part of us that is beyond birth and death, beyond all worldly definitions. By remembering who we truly are, we free ourselves from the constant striving and worrying that so often define our lives. We begin to see that true joy and spiritual growth arise naturally when we live from this place of deep inner truth. In practical terms, this can mean sitting quietly each day and simply being with the breath, allowing thoughts to come and go without grasping. It can mean cultivating loving kindness toward ourselves, embracing our imperfections as part of the human journey. It can also mean recognizing moments of simple presence, feeling the warmth of sunlight on the skin, hearing a bird's song, or sharing a sincere smile with a stranger, as glimpses of our true nature shining through. By turning our attention again and again to this essential remembrance, we nurture a life of deep contentment and unshakable serenity. We learn that the most important memory is not stored in the brain but held gently in the heart, waiting patiently for us to return home to it. In this final and most sacred memory, we rediscover our natural capacity for love, compassion, and boundless peace, and we awaken to the quiet miracle of simply being alive. As we gently arrive at the end of this shared journey together, let us pause and take a deep, quiet breath, recognizing the tender wisdom that has been unfolding before us. We have traveled through reflections on mindfulness, emotional memory, the gentle art of forgetting, the healing power of compassionate reflection, and the most profound memory of all, remembering who we truly are. Each of these pathways offers us not only a way to nurture mental clarity and strengthen memory but also a deeper invitation to live with open-hearted presence, to embrace each moment as a gift beyond measure. In a world that constantly urges us to do more, remember more, and become more, Buddhist wisdom gently calls us to return home to the simple miracle of being. Let this be your moment of stillness. A soft voice in the noise. A companion for the soul. Through this calm and steady awareness, we discover that aging is not a process of diminishing but a sacred unfolding, a quiet blossoming of the spirit. We learn to see each wrinkle not as a flaw but as a line of poetry written by the years, each forgotten word not as a failure but as a door opening to spacious freedom. When we turn toward ourselves with compassion and curiosity, we unlock a wellspring of inner peace and unshakable contentment. By practicing mindfulness and honoring emotional memory, by letting go of unnecessary burdens and embracing our true essence, we create a gentle sanctuary within that can support us through all of life's changes. This sanctuary is always here, patiently waiting beneath the surface, ready to welcome us back whenever we choose to return. Even if we forget many things, this inner space remains untouched and luminous. As you continue on your own journey, may you carry these gentle teachings as a lantern, lighting your way through the joys and sorrows of aging, through the soft twilight of memory and the bright morning of awakening. Remember, you are not merely a collection of stories or achievements, you are the vast, open sky in which all these clouds pass. In this realization lies a peace deeper than any memory, a joy more lasting than any accomplishment. May you walk each step with kindness, rest in the warmth of each breath, and find beauty even in the simplest moments. Now, dear friend, I invite you to share your thoughts with us. How have your memories shaped your path? Which moments stand out most vividly in your heart? Have you discovered new layers of yourself as you age? Please share your stories, reflections, and feelings in the comments below. Your words might inspire someone else on their journey toward peace of mind and spiritual growth. We would love to hear how Buddhist wisdom and gentle reflection resonate in your life. If this message touched you, please like this video, subscribe to Mindful Pathway Media, and share it with those who might also find comfort and inspiration here. Together, we can create a compassionate community where each voice is heard and each heart is honored. Your story matters. Your presence matters. Thank you for walking this path with us today.